Lyndon B. Johnson was thrown into the presidential seat after the assassination of John F. Kennedy. It was a time of hot-button issues such as the Civil Rights Movement and the Vietnam War. JFK was popular due to his charismatic personality. However, he lacked political prowess when it came to passing bills. He did not have a great relationship with Congress, and they blocked him on a number of issues, such as federal aid to education and a precursor of Medicare. LBJ knew how to work the congressional ropes. He is considered a successful president because of his talent in politics. Lyndon B. Johnson was not as charismatic of a president as Kennedy. He was solely judged on his actions and what he would do in the crisis of the death of JFK. A little more than 2 hours after the assassination, Johnson was aboard Air Force One reciting the presidential oath of office. He wanted to distinguish himself as a skillful leader who would transform the late Kennedy's aspirations into a reality. Johnson felt the best way to prove to the public that he had not merely inherited the White House, but that he had earned it, was to demonstrate his leadership skills through building agreement among diverse groups and following through with Kennedy's belief in civil and human rights for all. He accomplished what JFK was unable to do, which was the passing of legislation that aided these rights. For example, a major piece of legislation he was able to pass was the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. This bill had already been proposed by Kennedy in 1963, and it made all the way to the Rules Committee when the chairman, who was an avid segregationist, made it clear he would not let this bill pass. After JFK's death, Johnson utilized his experience in legislative politics along with the bully pulpit he exercised as president to support the bill. He had over 20 years in experience as a congressman, and he personally and publicly lobbied Congress to pass the measures. With his clear demonstration of political skills, he won the 1964 election by a landslide through his platform of promising the passage of the Great Society legislation. This was the largest reform agenda since Roosevelt's New Deal. Johnson declared a war on poverty and challenged Americans to build a great society that eliminated the troubles of the poor. He passed many major legislations. A few of the most popular ones are the Social Security Act of 1965, the Food Stamps Act of 1964, and the Urban Mass Transportation Act of 1964. The Great Society legislations brought aid to underprivileged Americans, regulated natural resources, and protected American consumers. His ability to work with Congress allowed the Great Society legislation to be passed. Johnson maintained a good approval rating, until his accomplishments were overshadowed by his stance on the war in Vietnam. Overall, he was an extremely successful president with the ability to deal with crisis in the nation and also his political expertise in Congress. Lyndon B. Johnson still has a major impact on today's political world. Most of his Great Society legislation is still vital to everyday Americans. For example, over 47 million Americans use food stamps, and over 49 million use Medicare. LBJ was a successful president all through his political savviness, which allowed him to get revolutionizing bills passed for America.